Hello, everybody. Zavi Don here, and welcome to the show. We're going to do this one pretty quick today because it is just a short video. I will cover a couple of things that he did before that are pretty ridiculous, but this is, I guess, the Mario Exposed show, and it's good to have you along. I see that Anonymous and Scripture Shores are in chat. It's good to see you guys, and welcome to all those coming in. Now, I want to mention how this one seems a little bit different, and I think Stephen Casper did a video on this. I think I have his link in a previous video. I can drop it in the chat later, but this is his video now. This is Mario, and he was just about to create all these different videos and different ways that God was sending him to spread the word and things like that, and out of nowhere he makes this video saying goodbye internet. Once again, he's gone. So we're gonna be covering that today, maybe a couple other videos, and take a look at why this could have happened, because it was quite abrupt. It's not like his other ones. Usually there's a big cycle. So has he learned his lesson? I don't know. Let's see. So let's go to the video and start it up, see what you guys think. I guess we'll do it quick because it is a very quick one, and I want to make sure he won't ding me for copyright. So let's speed it up a bit. I'll just play through the whole thing first once, and just do a quick commentary on that. Maybe we can just pick it apart afterwards.
Hey Faith family, it's Brother Mario. I pray you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to go ahead and make a quick video to announce to all my social media platforms that I engage with that I'm going to be taking a massive break from the internet completely. I'm not going to be making any videos or posts for a while, a very, very long time. For those of you who don't know, the last 2 years I've been really focusing on my personal relationship with God. Over 2 years ago, I was in a really, really dark spot, and things were not good in my life at all. God, over the last 2 years, has done amazing things as I really try to focus on discipleship and growing in Him, and it's been very fruitful. But it's an ongoing process, and I don't want to get focused on other things. I'm still struggling in many areas in my life. There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better and been more Christ-like in them in the way that I did them, and stuff like
I'm just going to quickly cut that up there just so he doesn't call it for copyright or whatever.
That and stuff that I struggle with. So I want to keep on focusing and doing what works for me. And staying away from the internet is actually something that helps. There was a content creator that just came back to the internet. I don't know if you guys know, Kirby is a boss. She's a YouTuber, and she took a whole year off. And in her comeback video that she just posted, she mentioned how posting online and making videos put her in a place where her personal time with God was all about how she can feed other people, and it kind of took away that personal aspect of being fed and having that personal aspect of your relationship with God. And I can resonate with that when I go out to create content, or I think about what video to make next. It's about that, and I need to remove that from my life right now and make it all about my own personal relationship with God, because I want to keep growing. It's what matters most. And over the last 2 years, it's been so fruitful to put away technology, put away social media as much as I can. I mean, there was a point where for 3 months I didn't even have my phone, and I was really able to grow. So I'm gonna get off social media and just grow, because that's what I want to do most, and I still need it. And God has a lot more in store for me, so I want to obey that. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. I start all these video series and all that, but that's just me. I got ahead of God. I have to admit it, and I have a tendency to do that. I get really excited about the things that I want to do for God, and I think I can do for Him, and I get ahead of Him. And I get going in all these different areas. And today it's just clear that in my personal time, He's like, hey, kiddo, here you go again, doing that thing you do, getting ahead of me and getting out of my will for you. And so I'm clear that God's will for me is that I continue in the recovery, in growing in discipleship and all those things. And I just stay away from the internet and the possibility of it, and the tendency for me that it becomes an idol, because I don't want anything to get in the way of my relationship with God. So it's embarrassing, but hey, I'm a fool. God is God, so that's just the way it is. Another thing, it's very hard on the internet for me to grow and to be healthy and stable in my life. The internet is a very toxic place with people who have intent to harm and do a lot of negative towards me. And I want to shield myself from that and step away from it. I'm not strong enough to deal with that right now, and to continue being healthy and growing. And yeah, so That's it, guys. Just wanted to let you know. Pray for Canada. I'm a Canadian, and things are really tough here. With the current state of lockdowns and everything, it's been really hard to be a Canadian and to go through what we're going through. So pray for our nation. Also, my sister's been really ill. I know many of you know this, but continue to pray for her. We're praying for a miracle and all that. But with everything going on in my nation and my family and my own personal walk with God, I just can't create content and continue to be healthy. And I, I need to keep being healthy. So I put too much work into it, you know? So, yeah. Have a blessed and wonderful day, guys. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and fear no evil.
All right, so I just wanted to play that through once, just while we're getting a couple more people in, just a couple people in chat or whatever. But that was his goodbye, and we will go through each
Hey,
one,
hey,
but I will mention. Oh, just a second. Wow, sorry about that. So, you'll notice that he is not on camera. Is a big one. This usually for his goodbyes and things like that. He's usually on camera, and he's trying to appeal by crying and things like that, and to keep his audience with him or whatever. It's an emotional appeal usually, and in order to accomplish that, this is usually why he will prioritize videos where he shows his face and his facial expressions. I think at this point, he is starting to realize that people see through this now. And he may be paying for comments and things to give him positivity and things like that, but he can't go anywhere anymore. He doesn't have an inner circle. He doesn't have this protection that he once had before. So when people make videos about him, they no longer get these floods of comments from an inner circle with 40 accounts. It's just Mario and what he tries to deal with on himself. So I think he's coming to a strong realization that he can no longer hide the things that he does anymore. He no longer has that kind of support. So you're going to see a more reclusive Mario. But as you can tell too, he says goodbye. He says goodbye, but he leaves himself an out. Like as soon as he deems himself close enough with God to start this up again, it's going to happen. Like there was no actual I'm never coming back. Like, and this is what we're going to dive in today, because in my opinion, this is not like other goodbye internet videos that he does. This is very sudden, abrupt, and dare I say, a little bit out of character. I'm not saying that he's changing or not changing. That's not what I'm getting at there by that comment. My comment is more that he's not doing this like he normally does. He's hiding even more. And he's getting ahead of something, I think. So we're going to push through that. As you can hear, I have a little kitty that is going to meow if I don't let him out. So I'm going to do that. And I'll be right back. Just take 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Now, before I just play that up again, I just want to say hello to the people there in chat that popped in. We have Sword of Truth as well, and I think Chris Jones since the last time I said hello. So, hey to you guys. Great to see you as well. And just 1 second. Scripture Source is asking me if I got his reply on his video. He actually does some great videos. You should check him out as well. Scripture Shores, he's in chat there. You just look up his channel. Chris Jones, good evening. And Mario, did you call me Mario? Oh my goodness. I'm ultra offended. Ultra offended. Anonymous says, I'm going to go with a no. I guess that was to my question of whether he has changed. Yeah, I think that's kind of clear and obvious. We will go through it that he basically admits that he was just caught lying again or something, what it seems like. So just be careful about. We'll go through that for sure. People can change, but Mario has proven his hypocrisy over and over again. Yeah, it's just one time after another, every time. Oh, my kitty is going to be a pain in the butt here today, I see. Sword of Truth says, can't debate Lasala, so runs like a coward. Ooh, okay. That could be an angle to it. Could be an angle to it. Mario was about to fake cry at the end of the video. Yeah, he pulled himself back. This is what I'm talking about. There's something off about this one, where he realizes that he can't do the things he does anymore, so he's hiding himself even more. He was about to cry. He was about to cry. He was doing the same, like, it's all structured the same way as before, but he had to pull back on his emotional appeals, because I think he realizes now that everybody's making fun of him, and the people talking about him now basically get more views than he does. Not me, but there's, like, when you combine everybody else talking about him, it's like far more views than he gets as a whole, because people have realized now. People have realized. He's been outed so many, just like Anonymous said. He's been outed so many times. How can he not be ashamed? Ashamed's not really a factor in what he does. It's whether or not he can get away with it, I think. All right, so let's get into this. I do want to make this one a quick one today. I can't be on all day. As you can hear, this kitty is dying for the attention. So we'll play this, maybe a couple other videos, and we'll check out. But this is pretty interesting. Let's pick this apart.
Family, it's Brother Mario. I pray you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to
the same cookie cutter garbage every time, hey? You know?
go ahead and make a quick video to announce to all my social media platforms.
I'll slow this down too, so we can get like an actual, because this is involving a little bit of observation, and we want to see how he was actually comporting himself.
That I engage with, that I'm going to be taking a massive break from the internet completely. I'm not going to be making any videos or post.
So is it goodbye, or is it a break? You know what I mean? It's so keep your wedge in the back door, keep your foot in the back door kind of thing.
For a while, a very, very long time. For those of you who don't know, the last 2 years I've been really focusing on my personal relationship with God. Over 2 years.
10 years, and for 2 years you've been working on your personal relationship with God. You get a personal relationship with God through your faith in Jesus Christ dying for your sins. Okay? Okay, so what have you been doing for 10 years? All right, it's such a like what do you call it? An achronological garbage that he spews on this, you know?
Ago, I was in a really, really dark spot, and things were not good in my life at all. God, over the last 2 years, has done amazing things as I really try to focus on discipleship and growing in Him. And
discipleship. The second you got out of your second rehab, because the first one you left for getting kicked out by doing steroids, you immediately started to make a channel called Recovery in Jesus, so that you could teach others. Immediately, you have no discipleship of anybody, really. I mean, you're not a disciple to, like, and I mean, you're not supposed to go for men, but like, immediately you pretend like you're the teacher. The second you get a chance, and then that just didn't work. It didn't get the views and publicity that you wanted, and then you never did it again. So you left the people that were actually believing in your garbage high and dry, until someone called you out for it. Then you made like one video, and you haven't done a thing since.
And it's been very fruitful. But it's an ongoing process, and I don't want to get focused on other things.
Yeah, now it's all about you, right? Like for the past, what has it been, like 3-4 months? He's been trying to weasel his way into it. He says he's creating these extra ministries, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if he was brave enough to say ministries this time with Recovery in Jesus and other things like that, but he said he wants to help all you people. Come be in recovery with me. You should see some of these videos that he does that just tries to draw you into this stuff, And then now it's all about him. He's got to step back. Those people don't matter. They never did.
I'm still struggling in many areas in my life. There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better.
Uh-oh. I think that's your problem right there. That was pretty random, wasn't it? It was quite the random insert. What relationships? Relationships issues. What are you talking about? You're talking about your relationship in God 2 seconds ago. Your relationship with God. That was pretty randomly inserted, don't you think? I say that has a lot to do with what this video is about.
And been more Christ-like in them, in the way that I did them, and stuff like that. Better and been more Christ-like in them, in the way that I did them, and stuff.
Sorry, I don't mean to repeat it too much, but we're just going to play it one more time just because I did chop it up. Just listen to this.
There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better and been more Christ-like in them, in the way that I did them, and stuff like that, and stuff like that I struggle with. So I want to keep
stuff that I struggle with, then segue into what you need and what you want. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here.
On focusing and doing what works for me, and staying away from the internet is actually something that helps. There was a content creator that just came back to the internet. I don't know if you guys know, Kirby is a boss. She's a YouTuber. And
yeah, we're gonna cut that part off. That was annoying, just for the moment, because she's irrelevant to this. You're just trying to relate yourself to somebody else to get off when you're doing. I don't know, this would be my first speculation. He is really worried about people talking about it, and he saw maybe some messages where we're saying we need to get the message out to his current girlfriend that this guy's basically abusive. And he needs to now make sure, if he still has the girlfriend, right? Whatever that relationship that he needed to be more Christ-like and things like that was, I don't know what that is. One can only speculate, and I don't want to get too far into gossip. I do find it interesting, the placement of it, but I could theorize that if he needs to get his girlfriend, if he still has her, off the internet to look at his videos, right? Because it would get weird after a while if he's going out with her and he's making all these videos and he's trying to get her to stay away from all the videos of him online. That would be too weird, right? So this would be basically the only way. And maybe he's got some local thing, because remember he was talking about stepping away from this like a little bit before he started making videos on TikTok and Instagram and all these places, right? He was saying he was going to focus on local ministry. You know, maybe he's trying to fall back to that now, and he just realizes that the views that he's getting is not like, I mean, this was posted at the beginning of the day, and we're at like 2K. Like, he used to get hundreds of thousands of views, you know, on each video. Like the risk is not worth this reward. You know what I mean? Especially if it means that like all of his girlfriends are going to find out. You know what I mean? If he posts too much information about himself, you know what I mean? People are going to try and warn these people so that they don't get abused like everybody else that he's been around. You know, so this is his only way, I guess, for now. He's got to figure something out, but it all of this talk that he's been doing in these videos over the past couple of months with the recovery in Jesus, with going to TikTok so we can get a younger audience, like he was making videos like this, it was all based on him saying this is what God is leading him to do. And now he's saying that he's running ahead of God. He'll say this now in a second, we'll get into it, but it's basically what he's saying, that this wasn't from God all along. It was really just him, but he's got to go and do what he needs to do because God. See, this is the problem, right? This is the biggest problem, because he ends up blaming God and saying that God changes his mind. You know, he's not led by the Spirit. Obviously not. This is basically what the Bible talks about when saying you sway like a reed. You're going both ways. You know, he'll sway to any side that he feels is profitable. This is exactly what they're talking about. All right, let's continue.
And she took a whole year off, and in her comeback video that she just posted, she mentioned how posting online and making videos put her in a place where her personal time with God was all about how she can feed other people, and it kind of took away that personal aspect of being fed and having that personal aspect of your relationship with God. And I can resonate with that when I go out to create content, or I think about you know, what video to make next. It's about that, and I need to remove.
We got a problem here because it was just recently saying that the videos that you're making were supposed to be uplifting those that were recovering and going along this quote-unquote journey of yours that everybody has to come along with. on your channel that you were advertising for. We got a big problem there. You know, like this guy should just stay off the internet. Just don't come back. Mario, I realize that this goodbye is not a real goodbye. We all realize that. You realize that we realize that. Just stop coming back, man. Because the problem is that we've seen your abuse on many people, and we're not going to stop talking about it. And you see it, and there's not much you can do about it, except get angry, which exposes you further to the people around you. This is one of the reasons why people keep making the videos. We realize that, like, I'm never going to get the views that you are going to get. I don't need to. All I need to do is just keep exposing. And you can't handle it. And you expose yourself. And the faster that you expose yourself to the people that you're trying to abuse, the better. Because, you know, the less you get them on the hook. It's that simple. You're a fraud.
Move that from my life right now and make it all about my own personal relationship with God, because I want to keep growing. It's what matters most. And over the last 2 years, it's been so fruitful to put away technology, put away social media as much as I can. I mean, there was a point where for 3 months, I didn't even have my phone, and I was really able to grow. So I'm going to get off social media. And
yeah, you weren't able to have your phone. Yeah, that's pretty good that you were staying away, but I want to say that was almost involuntary, wasn't it? And when I say almost, it wasn't almost. Was it? You know, this was not by your choice. And like, yeah, of course, you know, you should be off the internet. You should be off your smartphone. So I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but you can't control it. And it would be none of my business if you didn't pretend you had like a ministry over and over and over, and you're spreading your cancer onto kids. That's who you said that you were making videos for before. And it was clear, like some of those like TikTok videos that you made, like the Pharisee thing, like you were appealing to kids, like only kids. And you know, the maybe not so smart among us is going to find you pretending to be a Pharisee holding a broomstick and with a really bad racist accent. Like, just terrible stuff. Like, these videos were made for kids. You know it. Everybody knows it with an eye.
And just grow, because that's what I want to do most, and I still need it. And God has a lot more in store for me, so I want to obey that. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. I start all these video series and all that, but that's just me.
No, it's not about embarrassment to you. It's not about embarrassment to you. You are what you say about other people when you say they're a disgrace to God. Okay? And I reserve that insult for very few people. But when you're going around saying this ministry for recovery, God is leading me to do this and follow us all along, and then you lead those guys astray, and you don't cover up on or follow back up on them for months, you know, and then you do the same thing for kids on TikTok, right? And then now you're gone, right? Saying it was all God leading you to do this, yeah, you are a disgrace. Yes, you are, and I reserve that for very few people. Like, I wouldn't just go around saying that to many people. You are the charlatan of the highest order.
You know, I got ahead of God. I have to admit it.
No, you didn't. You didn't. God was always ahead of you. No. See, this is what I'm talking about. Mario's God is a puny God. It is not the God of the Bible. Mario's God is a God that he believes he can manipulate and speak for. You'll hear him speak for God another time in here, and I realize that he's not like saying thou saith the Lord, but he pretends that like God is having like a buddy conversation with him, you know, rather than convict him for the abuse that he's inflicting on others, like the personal problems that he was alluding to but wouldn't get into and quickly segue out of. It almost seemed like it was like some requisite for him to cover and then move on to other things. Because remember most of Mario's video, like he does this thing where like he sets up for the end call to action thing, And there's usually some emotion involved there. The content is usually a build-up of an emotion, but he can't really do it here too much. But you hear that most of it's fluid. Some of the stuff that he's saying here. He's trying to relate himself to this YouTuber so he doesn't have to talk about himself, so you can negate this part. But what was really out of place was he's talking about a relationship with God and get back to a relationship with God, but he's hurting other people and not being Christ-like is the insert. That one of these things is not like the others. You know what I mean?
And I have a tendency to do that. I get really excited about the things that I want to do for God and I think I can do for him, and I get ahead of him. And I get going in all these different areas. And today,
you don't get ahead of God. Mario's God is a weak and puny God. It is not the God of the Bible. Mario thinks that he fools God.
it's just clear that in my personal time, he's like, hey, kiddo, you know, here you go again, doing that thing you do, getting ahead of me and getting out of my will for you.
See, Mario, you don't know what God's will is because you don't study the Word. You don't seek God's will. I'm so sick of hearing, like, I don't think I'd be so, although it is, in my opinion, generally irrelevant or irreverent to be having these talks as if God is speaking to you like that. In my opinion, I don't think I'd be so mad or picky, but just knowing that Mario has said so many things are the will of God, this means nothing to me when he says this stuff, you know, and it's very suspect. Like, when you're convicted in the Holy Spirit, the last thing you want to be doing is insulting God further. This guy shows no remorse. Like, he's just like, he's talking like God is his bro. You know what I mean? Complete irreverence. And it's one of the reasons why he's never going to get off his high horse. He thinks that he's like on an equal standing, maybe a little bit less standing than God or something. I don't know. But it's obviously not one where he fears God. Otherwise, he wouldn't be speaking for him.
And so I'm clear that God's will for me is that I continue in the recovery, in growing in discipleship. And
yeah, and the Bible is clear when it says it is not that God is not the author of confusion. He's not the author of chaos. So if he's telling you that it's clear that you should be doing local things and working on your personal relationship, then where was he when you were making the recovery in Jesus? Mario, where was he when you were trying to expand to a younger audience on TikTok? You know? Where was he then? Because it obviously wasn't him. The Bible's clear when it says that he is not a God of chaos, but of order. He does not make order out of chaos as his primary MO. That's the other puny, weak God down below. That's Mario's weak and puny God. It's not the God of the Bible.
And all those things, and I just stay away from the internet and the possibility of it and the tendency for me that it becomes an idol, because I don't want anything to get in the way of my relationship with God. So
is it, is it you don't want anything in the way with God? Like, I'll let this play, but do you see the glaring, like he's speaking out of two sides of his mouth in the same video here. Like, that he knows the will of God, yet it's led him to do this, apparently. Because Mario's God, once again, is a weak and puny and not knowing God. Apparently, Mario can get ahead of his God. And that's because he's not the God of the Bible.
It's embarrassing, but hey, I'm a fool. God is God, you know? So
what does that even mean? So you were obviously doing something behind closed doors then. Right? And like, oh, you caught me, God, so I'm gonna have to make this video. Right? I gotta go check my cat. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Hey, sorry about that. My cat gets in these phases. He meows, 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 no matter how much you play with him. He's okay, he just wants to play more and more. I don't know what it is. It's like a hunting season or something for him. And if he's not always hunting, he's meowing. Alright, so, yeah, let's, I guess it's a good time to just check back in the chat, see if I have missed a good bit. I'm sorry about that, guys. We rebuke you, the real spirit-led Christians rebuke Cole Casper. We rebuke A Entertainment. We rebuke Avidan for your satanic agenda. Quote unquote. Mario Brisson. Oh, he's so ridiculous. He's the most Holy Spirit-filled Christian, as he says. Yeah, he really didn't like that video. Andre and I did a live stream, and we pointed out the whole Godly Bros and him wearing the red shirt, and everybody else were told to wear white shirts and things like that. Yeah, he didn't like that very much, because normally he didn't ever mention me directly, because then he would have to talk about that time that he tried to tell me logic was from Satan. So that's why we've never spoken since then, because he would have to answer for that. So usually he just ignored me, but he could no longer ignore me. When I start, it's when you start connecting with people, it's when these guys kind of blow up a little bit. So you don't even have to be like, I don't know, what do I have, like 3 or 4 people watching? Like, that's all I need. All he needs to know is that somebody besides him is watching and learning. It's pretty crazy how easily they implode after that. I think one reason Mario did you now is because Kirby is a boss. Atheist Jacqueline Glenn. Sorry if I misspelled her name. Had others and others had bid success on there. Yeah, so like he saw an opening and he went for it. Yeah, you now was pretty flavor of the week, wasn't it? And he certainly jumped on that bandwagon. Yeah, Ontario entered phase fee on Friday. Quebec close to him opened late May. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's gonna mention that now in a second. Last Day Laura. Yeah, oh yeah. Last Day Ministries was a good channel. Colonel Casper and others did funny goodbye videos back when Mario quit his big channel. Yeah, when he gave it to Rich Pinkowski. I was just looking at the video where Rich talks about how Mario gave it to him, and Mario is going around saying that he deleted the channel, or that YouTube deleted the channel, but he actually gave the channel away. So yeah, got ahead of God. See, like, anybody who is, fearful of God, listening to that, they're just like, you gotta be joking me, man. Can you imagine God ahead of God? Mario's God is so puny. Mario, like, because it's not the God of the Bible. I just gotta make sure to say that at the end, because how people twist that. Gary explained well, and he doesn't expose Mario when he's gone. He just does when he returns. What makes TVP racist? Isn't he a poor parody of Colonel Caspel? No, he's doing a Pharisee accent. I don't know. I probably wouldn't call it racist. Probably shouldn't call it racist. Might be a little bit too much, but he's going a little bit hard on that accent there. That's for sure. You know what? Let's just call it what it is. It's cringe. It's cringe. No need to call it racist. It's cringe. It's the cringiest thing. Have you heard the Mario Pharisee thing? Well, we'll go into it after this, actually, because it's the cringiest thing ever. It really is. It's so bad.
That's just the way it is. Another thing, it's very hard on the internet for me to grow and to be healthy and stable in my life. The internet is a very toxic place with people who have intent to harm and do a lot of negative towards me.
Oh, dun, 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 dun. He realizes he's never gonna shake those that see through him, and they're gonna continue to call him out. And that even through the censorship of everything, like, people realize this guy for who he is, and he's not growing because of the censorship. Like YouTube has censored all his avenues to blow up like he did before. He was able to talk about the satanic Illuminati, but now when you put that in your videos, that actually, bumps, or it pushes your viewability your viewership down through the algorithms, because it's, I guess, like sensitive content. You know how that whole Borg stuff works. But yeah, so like the way he was able to get famous before is now just vanished, and he can't jump on anything else. And he's stuck in all this sin that he has to answer for, because if he this is the thing, right? I think he's caught between a rock and a hard place, and I think he's desperately trying to get out of Christianity, and I'll tell you why. He's staying. The reason why he's staying, even though everybody's trying to hold him accountable for his lies and his abuse and all that kind of stuff, he's staying because if he loses the quote unquote grace of Jesus that he hides behind to abuse people, this he's gonna get ruined. So he needs to keep this veneer of niceness to stop the overflow of people coming at him. And he was hoping that the new censorship rules would stop these people from criticizing them. But at the end of the day, we have too much verifiable dirt that this guy is what we say he is. It's not just some slander. This guy has nowhere to go, including renouncing that which he doesn't believe, because he loses his virtual immunity through his fake Christ. The Mario Christ, the weak and puny Christ, the weak and puny God, because it's not the God and it's not the Jesus of the Bible.
And I want to shield myself from that and step away from it. I'm not strong enough to deal with that right now, and to continue being healthy and growing. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Just wanted to let you know. Pray for Canada. I'm a Canadian, and things are really tough here with the current state of lockdowns and everything. It's been really...
It's like, why not just shovel it in there, right? Just any sort of martyrdom that you could apply yourself to. Dude's inner demons got more martyrs than the Catholic Church.
Really hard to be a Canadian and to go through what we're going through. So pray for our nation. Also, my sister's been really ill. I know many of you know this, but continue to pray for her. We're praying for a miracle.
Okay, that's legit. If it's legit, then that's legit. I will note that that's, I think, the first time I've heard him speak about his sister. So, yeah, let's keep her in our prayers. No joke on that. I'm being very serious. Very serious. Because if you haven't heard about her for all these times, or like that much in all these times, got a sister. Oh boy. I wonder what secret she's holding. So, yeah, we don't want anybody to remain sick. Please keep your prayers out for her. That's basically the only point I'll take as legitimate in this whole video, if it is legit.
And all that. But with everything going on in my nation, in my family, in my own personal walk with God, I just can't create content and continue to be healthy. And I need to keep being healthy. So I put too much work into it, you know? So.
Too much work. Okay, Mario, let's be real here. Let's be real here.
Hey, Faith family, it's Brother Mario. I pray you're having a great day. I wanted to go ahead and take an opportunity to create part two to my Christian testimony.
Sorry about that,
If you haven't seen part one, I'll leave it linked up.
I think that's better now. Let's be real here. These videos are not hard work. Okay? In a month, you've made 15 videos, most of them just referring to other people. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying that I work hard at exposing you, because I don't. But there's very little content here. Let's be real. And he does his other channels, his plethora of other channels. He either posts like re-uploads, if he posts at all. Most of those channels haven't been active in months. 3 months ago, this is still on his front page. This guy's not working that hard unless he's doing things behind the scenes that you don't see. If you go over and check TikTok, that hasn't been active. The Instagram, yeah, he's been doing his Instagram. But again, it's just like a clip of video or a picture or something. This is not full-time job stuff anymore. Like before it probably was, like he was exposing it and he was pumping out a lot of content. It wasn't very good content, but at least it was like, some quantity at least. This is very, very minimal. And you're saying that you're working too hard? What's really going on here? What's really going on here? It's that you're addicted to people talking about you. You can't realize you have not submitted yourself to God. You haven't realized that it's well within people's rights to warn others of your past abuses in many different fashions and forms, right? And you just can't handle it, so you gotta shut it all down on your end, right? That's what's going on here.
Yeah. Have a blessed and wonderful day, guys. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and fear no evil.
He's saying the same things. Stay vigilant. You're not vigilant at all. Like, fear no evil. That takes me back to. He's been saying that since what, 2014? It's pretty bad. Mario's in Ottawa. Oh no, I missed him. I was living in Ottawa for a little bit. 2 girlfriends in 4 years. Yeah, see, it's hard to see. I'm looking in from outside. I think it's around here.
That I wish I would have handled better.
Yeah.
And
see, this is what I'm talking about.
Ongoing process, and I don't want to get focused on other things. I'm still struggling in many areas in my life. There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better.
Just think of these. I think this is the crux of what has happened, to be honest. This is where there's the most definitive assertions being put forth. It's out of place, and he sounds a little bit strained when he says it. Again, you can't really see him. He's picked his little confident thing. 2 years of rehab, by the way. Isn't this a 5-month program that he was in? And the other one got kicked out of. Am I not mistaken on that? Like, he's just counting it all as a success. Because the first one failed, he actually served extra time. And it wasn't just that it was a failure. Because you got kicked out for steroids. Because you just won't give up to God. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, okay. Well, again, like I said, Mario's Jesus is a very weak and puny Jesus because it's not the Jesus of the Bible. It's the one that he's crafted for himself or from other people.
Better and been more Christ-like in them in the way that I did them, and stuff like that, and stuff that I struggle with. So I want to
see, and stuff like that and stuff that I struggle with, but I want to segue. Do you see how that's the big tell for me, I think? Because there's something there, and he can't, just like all these other videos where he's about to get into the surface of what is the catalyst to these videos, which is usually a relationship failure or something of that line. He starts to talk about it, and then he quickly segues out of it. Go back through the other ones. You'll see it. You'll hear it. This happens each time. Before he did that, the stuff, it sounds like he's shutting down, right? What's he talking about? Relationships and interactions that should have been more Christ-like. Like, how many relationships and interactions could you have in a lockdown and you just have a girlfriend and this is possibly internet related, Possibly. Because all of this could just be him hiding away and he's making excuses for the internet. But this stuff, I believe. I think this stuff is like the real damage control. And he tried to say it quick, and he quickly segues out of it and just makes up a whole bunch of other crap after that. Just listen to it one more time. I'm serious. This is really important. This isn't like his regular I'm leaving videos. Usually he shows himself, and he's confident that he can fool you in his emotional state. Now he no longer has that, and I'm wondering why as he mentions these words. And I'm just going to clue up this video with that, with one more play. Listen to it. Seriously. Each word is carefully chosen until he gets to the stuff and stuff, so he can get his sinful, for lack of a better words, his sinful ass out of that conversation so he doesn't put himself in more trouble.
I want to get focused on other things. I'm still struggling in many areas in my life. There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better and been more Christ-like in them in the way that I did them. And
that's some sneaky
stuff like that,
stuff
and
like
stuff that I struggle with. So I want to keep on
with. So I want to, Oh, that's sketchy stuff. I'm not gonna pretend that I don't. Yeah. I'll go through the chat to just see what you're saying. Their sound is kind of low. Hopefully it's fixed. Let me know if the sound has improved since then. I'm just trying to keep it down a little bit. I have my cat here that's kind of meowing a little bit, and usually it's because I'm talking too loud. So, I relapsed 3 times, never counted those as my sober time. Exactly. Like, for those who don't know, I am a recovering alcoholic. I don't hide it whatsoever. The last time I had a drink was late 2013. But I tried stopping. Probably 2010, 2011, maybe 2011, maybe somewhere in there, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it yet. So I don't consider that part of my sobriety, even if I was sober at many points in that time. I count it like when I stopped drinking. I don't count the relapse as extra time served. It's like committing a crime in jail, getting a sentence tacked on, and saying that you overpaid for the crime that got you in there. It's crazy. Okay, I'll turn up my microphone a little bit more. Just give me a sec. Sorry, guys. I do want to keep it down. Let's try 7 extra. Okay, let me know if I start cracking up. But I think I have it a little bit better here now. So I have no indication he was ever in BC. Mario was in Cornwall, then to Gatineau, then ladder near to Ottawa. Yeah. So yeah, Gatineau is Ottawa. Like, that whole area is like one big metropolitan area, to be honest. Like, it's like a big county. Like, I know Cornwall is farther away, yes, but like its main connect is Ottawa, Gatineau is a lot closer, but so I think he's always been in and around that area. I really sound like Jeff C tonight. Yeah, sorry about that. Stuff like that. Yeah, I know. Is it not just me? Am I Listen, if I'm picking at this too much, if I sound like I'm reaching, please let me know. Sharpen my sword. I know that I'm keen to debate, so I might disagree with it at first, but I'm definitely open to listening. But I'm pretty sure that's the crux of this, the real problem here. Whatever has happened, whatever has happened, I don't know if it's really about the internet. I do find interesting the timing at which he speaks about the internet. This is his normal, in his template of appealing to fans for damage control. This is normally where he does a call to action. He's calling for them to support him. And you hear it with the martyrs talk with, Canada and all that kind of stuff too in with it. You hear about the internet. I don't know if that's the primary thing. I think that could be a secondary thing, as in like we're not going to stop making videos about him if he continues on the internet to deceive people. So maybe that's a major thing. Like he doesn't want his girlfriends looking at that. But I think the real problems here
is in my life. There's relationships and interactions that I've had that I wish I would have handled better.
You can hear the strain in his voice as he says had as well. See, again, he doesn't want you to see him this time. It's not worth the risk this time. It always was before, because he believed that he could fool you more visually as well as audioly. And usually he's right in that. That is, you can fool more people if you have both. But today he's made a calculated decision to not show himself and instead show a rehab program photo. Like no effort put in. So this is the lowest effort. For those who don't make videos, like it is a little bit of a work. If you're putting in intro slides and you're trying to point out things, you know what I mean? You can't just present like a photo most of the time when you're trying to show evidence, because like a lot of the time the focal point is not the information that you want to present, so you have to then modify each image like so that you can point out where the eye should go with like maybe a red line or something like that. Like you have to take in a lot of things to account when you're making a video. It gets faster over time, especially if you're pumping them out like this. But I'm just pointing this out that some people may not appreciate how tedious this work can be, right? So when people put in work and when they don't, especially when you're a creator, you're a little bit hypersensitive to it. And what you see here is the minimal amount of effort. This might be a screen, like a phone thing. He didn't record himself talking, because that's what he would used to do on his phone before. Remember, like at the end of the video, he would reach to it and stop. I would remember that. So he knows how to do that, and that's an easy template. So why wouldn't he do that? It's because he doesn't want you to see him, which is something very different from what he's always done. This is a very sketchy video, I gotta say. It's preemptive, far more preemptive than what normally happens. And it's far more abrupt. So I don't think it's from us so much as something that he did recently. And he's covering his tracks. And it has something to do with relationships and interactions. Yeah. Mario's louder. Well, he's always louder. It's his job. My stepson is in rehab right now. I really pray that he gets sober. He has a 2-year daughter that needs it. Yes, and I will certainly be praying for him as well, because addiction is a big problem. It's a massive problem that, frankly, men... Well, I mean, a lot of us, we have our own addictions, but men are not dealing with it. And, on a secular level, even on a secular level, like if you have a kid, that should be your number one priority. I know this sounds all very basic, but to many people it isn't. It's really scary. It is really scary. This sort of bad fathering pandemic. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say anything about your stepson, because it's part of a larger thing. I'm not just like saying he's like some son of perdition or something. Okay, so I know the way it came out sounded kind of bad. I apologize for that. It certainly wasn't what I meant. But well, let's look at Mario. We have this Even to a certain extent myself, I feel it all the time. I feel like I'm a 15-year-old sometimes in, like, a 33-year-old's body. Like just a young, like 15, whatever. I feel conditioned in a way. There is a certain part that you have to reject. But the worldly way is that men just are not to act like men and control their emotions and control this stuff, I think we had a much better understanding of that, Something's, in my opinion, something's been manipulated. I'm not trying to sound like, some SJW or some spiritual warfare person when I say that. I think that regardless of their craziness on both sides, this is the truth, really. That someone has engineered this, in my opinion. Moving on, though, I will definitely keep your stepson in my prayers, and I see what you've responded. As the saying goes, common sense ain't so common anymore. He's a bad father right now. I take no offense, and certainly we're not trying to offend him, and we hope that he comes to Jesus. to be fair, to be straight up. But I mean, when it comes, you have a kid, right? Whatever it is, whatever it takes, you gotta figure out that addiction. And we know as Christians that there's one way and one way only. But there are other therapies and things like that. Yes, that you got to do something. If you got a kid, if you're not a believer, no one can force you to believe. We can teach the gospel, we can share the gospel, but we can't make someone believe. And sometimes rehab is the only option. Especially like in the case of Mario, like he's so hardened that it's really the only chance. You got to force him into these places. Speak Life, it's good to see you. It's been a little bit. I know you're here in like some of the, like maybe last week or something like that. But yeah, it's great to see you. You're saying, I knew this guy was an awful Christian, so-called, when he first arrived on YouTube, because cooking and listening, so I had to pop in my 2 cents. Yeah, it's not even that he's an awful Christian. It's that he's an act. Like this is an act. Like we just gotta call this what this is. It's an act. It's an act to shield himself from abuse to people around him. It's an act to fool Christians. I think that, I personally think, he's going around sharing astrology charts, not just like horoscopes. And I'm not trying to, I want to be clear because I feel like I was trivializing how bad horoscopes can be, but not the one that's so, what I'm trying to say by that, like horoscopes are generally socially, secularly accepted as just the norm that you would see on the newspaper. This is not the norm that he was pushing out. Okay? He wasn't just handing some girl a horoscope. He was handing a girl like a drawn up astrology wheel chart. Okay? Stuff that like you would never see if you weren't reading from Aleister Crowley. And the like, Mario, the Vigilant Christian, for 10 years or whatever it was at that point, where did you have access to an astrology wheel? Mr. I walked away from New Age. You know the difference. Mr. I made 10 years worth of videos every day calling out the satanic Illuminati. How do you not know that the astrology chart is not part of that? We didn't, everybody was so focused on the nude pics, at that time, that it almost served as too much of a distraction. Let's be real here. The Vigilant Christian not only sent out nudes, but sent out astrology charts and was hyper-focused on astrology. It's crazy, huh? Did he ever really go to rehab? Well, maybe he paid for this thing. Maybe. I want to say that people have enough info to know that he was indeed in rehab for some months. I think he wouldn't have made a video about getting kicked out of one if it wasn't because people had the dirt that he didn't. But then again, this is speculation on my part, and you should take that into account. But I think he went to rehab because he has to stay as a Christian, or else he is not forgiven in his mind for all the sins that he continues to commit. I think New Age is a big part of me too, so he just like can't get away with all this stuff. Because this is the issue. You guys know that, right? You guys know that. It's not just that the heresy is the worst part, yes. The heresy is the worst part. And this guy is the definition of a heretic. Someone that comes in and splits people up. Anybody that has any critiquing of him, he can't address things, so he just makes a video to split off to another offshoot of whatever it is that he can adopt to make himself sound better. He's a heretic. He's a heretic. This is like the definition of heretic. Not just a blasphemer. This is a guy who loves to create division, telling other people that they're creating division when they criticize him, all this stuff. But the thing is, if you're not a Christian, which of course I am, but if you're not, this stuff doesn't mean anything to you if you're not a Christian, okay? So this could just be some kooky person, you know? And maybe he'll shake out of it and not be a Christian anymore if you don't believe it, right? This is not, so in that right, this is not the biggest issue, the heresy. The biggest issue is that he uses fame to abuse people, including women. Possibly there's something going on there with that mattress in the basement with his nephew or whatever it is. I'm not saying that anything happened. I'm just saying it's quite weird to see so many videos of like breakdancing in which like you're wearing less clothes than you would to work with your nephew, or maybe your nephew is bare shirt and you guys are wrestling and you're pretending to be Archangel Michael and stuff. Like videos that are just, what are you doing in the basement there with some mattress that has no sheets with this kid, this wrestling thing? What is this? This is freaky stuff. And I mean, like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying that he's doing anything there. I am saying that we have multiple women that have talked about actual abuse, right? This is the big issue. Because like if he thinks that he can get away from being a Christian, you know, if he thinks he'll do it. It's why he debates the atheists. It's not because he cares about these people. It's because he's A, looking for an out. B, he's trying to find more people because he's exhausted his supply on YouTube of Christians. Everybody calls him out over here, so he has to go on to over other things. Just another example here. He mentions this guy, Cassidy. What's his name? Cassidy Campbell, right? Let's take a look at this. He doesn't even link to the channel. Bear in mind, but he does link to the video in the comment. But he still doesn't put it in his video. Like, okay, so this is actually pretty interesting. I should do like a little segment on this before I go. I was going to do something on this earlier, but I just haven't had the time over the past week. This guy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So this video is going to be a lot different.
We're not going to go through all of this. This is 18 minutes of him pretending to be a Christian. Let's just call a spade a spade. This guy's a faker. He's being accused of sexual assault. Okay, he's got a lot of viewers. Look at this, 1.56 million people. Okay, now, so yeah, made a new channel. Let's take a look at the stuff that he's been doing. Right here is his quote unquote testimony to Jesus Christ, at which he doesn't talk about his salvation story. Let's just put that way. He doesn't recognize what Jesus did. He doesn't say anything about how Jesus died on the cross for us to save us from our sins. And that our faith, we get the grace through our faith in Jesus Christ, committing that work for us. Okay? He finished the work for us is the better word. Okay? He doesn't talk about any of this. How he realized that he is dead in his sin. Like he is in spiritual death, and he was in need of saving. It had nothing to do with that. Okay, what this is about? Look, I should almost be censoring this if this is supposed to be a Christian channel, right? Look at these thumbnails. Actually, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can't see them that well, because we look at them. Look at this tailbait. This is Christian. In the video, he does mention that he has been Christian the whole time, apparently, or at least for some years, or for some maybe some previous time, I should say. Maybe not throughout all of it, but he's saying that he hasn't, like, this isn't new. He's saying that he's Christian, but it's society that makes him post these videos so he can get views. You can watch it for yourself if you want to. I'm not going to play this. It's just 18 minutes of him. Basically what it is, there's a scandal over on his end of YouTube. He was in weightlifting, and he was in this, whatever this prank thing is, this pranking stuff, and he was in this stuff, and in those groups they're calling him out as basically a predator. Like there's lots of different claims now of what he was doing with, like, he was networking with other chills, I guess, in the weightlifting thing, and they were all hanging out, and he couldn't control himself around women, kind of things, right? So this is a very convenient video when it comes out, my testimony in Jesus Christ, and it's right in between Wanksta Troll Spirit Airlines, Wanksta goes job hunting, white people need to be canceled. Does this sound like the fruits of the Spirit to you? I need to speak to a manager right now, so I get some Karen reference. Redneck goes to the Trump rally. You know, he goes in there. Actually, it's really cringe if you go into it. Just he's there yelling in the middle of the crowd.
No shit. I might go gay.
So he's just hyperbolizing Trump fans, and you can tell that he's just like, he's literally in there to disrupt these people from having a good time. He's just in there yelling.
I ain't got no damn water. I'm going to drink this dipshit. Shit.
And apparently this is the testimony to Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay. But apparently this got right past Mario, because YouTube prank star reveals truth about online success and has spoken out about the futility of worldly success. What's really going on here is, I guess he's starting to get Me Too'd. Just the long and short of it is that he's getting Me Too'd. So he had to come out with something saying he's saved and all that kind of stuff. He's going to stop posting the bikini things. But he's actually after pulling another video where he's like, Dominate Me Daddy was a video that he had on. That was the title. And it was a guy flipping his t-shirt inside itself. Like, you know, that fake bikini look with a t-shirt that girls can do or whatever. He was doing it saying, Dominate Me Daddy. This was after the testimony to Christ. This is not the fruits of the Spirit. This is not someone that... This is someone who is exacerbating the issues, the civil strife. He's playing on civil strife that's occurring right now in society. Right? This is not a Christian. Let's just be honest here. Let's not just pretend that it's like, oh well, maybe he's saved. You don't really know his heart. It's like, no, we know by the fruits right here. Look at this. This is a garbage channel. This is a garbage normie channel that is the way of the world, through and through. We all make mistakes, yeah, but this is through and through just normie. Look at this. I made a new channel, and I don't know if it talks about Christ. I don't care. But obviously, when you start looking through his social blade, you start seeing that his subscribers are going down. His viewership is slowly and steadily going down. And he's kind of flip-flopping between different things because he keeps getting exposed in whichever community, quote-unquote community, that he goes into. He got kicked out of, like, the weight training community because he was using steroids. You know, he was kicked out of this prank stuff because everybody's starting to realize what's going on with him. And now, I guess he was trying to, like, you should actually, maybe I'll watch this another time just because of how funny it is. This guy looks like he totally ripped off a Vigilant Christian video. Like, when you listen to him talk about this stuff, it's really bad. And Mario, what's really going on with Mario, to circle this back, as Jen Psaki would say. what's really going on with Mario, he realizes that this guy is a fraud. And Mario knows enough about Social Blade and the media statistic sites that he can see when someone is vulnerable when they make these types of videos. This is what Mario does for a living, remember? So he can gauge these things, and he can see that this guy might be, could be, maybe open to some sort of collaboration so that he could get a juicy taste of those 1.56 million subscribers before they all dip as this guy goes through an identity crisis. That's what's going on here. Let's all be fair. This testimony to Christ. Listen, I don't have the time to go through 18 minutes and break it down here today. But just watch it. There's just wait for how he talks about Christ. It's just him all day. It's him talking about himself. This is like Mario 2.0, kind of. But I don't think that this guy actually wants anything to do with the Christian realm, because he sees, first off, he's not well read in the Bible. Let's just put it. It's really easy to tell this. He's not discerning, and I'm pretty sure he knows he would get wrecked by. Like, Mario at least knows some verses, and he gets destroyed by small channels. This guy doesn't want to dip his feet in that, I don't think. So he's probably just making this one video, and as you can see, he never addresses it again unless that's what this new channel is about. But for weeks there, he certainly wasn't practicing when he was preaching. But Mario didn't care about that. Mario's just looking for more views. The picture is so cringe. Mario's picture is so cringe.
Hey, Faith family.
Oh, I'm so sick of hearing that, too. Oh, that picture. Hold on. Zoom in a little bit. We'll do a last call in chat, because I do apologize. I wish I could stay longer, but I can't be on all night today. You know what I will do, because I do have to do some research. If you guys want to stick around afterwards and have a chat, I'll open up a new live stream, and we'll watch some videos together and have a chat if you want, while the night is still somewhat young. But man, that picture, it just it's so greasy. It's greasy. All right, let's see what I've missed here in the chat. Did Mario ever go to rehab? That's what last thing I was at, I think, right? Mario has been a New Ager since the beginning. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. We went through he has that channel, or had it, 777 Warrior for Christ or whatever. And you hear him talk about the spiritual warfare. And he doesn't necessarily say that word. But that's been a constant thing with him. And that spiritual warfare, they've taken that term, which, yes, there is spiritual warfare going on, but not in the way that these guys tell it to you. They're trying to distort the word, or the term and the semantics of it. And they want to take control and be the generals and the captains of that war. Get what I'm saying there? The war exists, but not as they tell it to you. They want to take you away from the real war and be the generals over you. That's what these guys want to do. The long and short of it. And if you want to look more into that, if you think that I'm just sounding like some tinfoil hatter, if you think I'm just, blowing the breeze, shooting the breeze with you, just go look up kingdom theology. Look up dominionism. Look up Seven Mountains Mandate. That's exactly what these people are talking about. And it's exactly the same thing as leftist stuff. It's exactly, these people think that they need to take over the world for Jesus to come back. He's been here from the beginning. It's a new age. It's a self-worship form of fake Christianity. And he's believed it from the very beginning, whether he even knows it or not. But I think he does know it. I think it's always been an act. Let's see. Hasn't tricked me. My discernment is way too strong. Yes. I don't know if I can say he tricked me, but I definitely watched his videos when I was first quote unquote red pilled, I guess. Take that as you will. Let's see, what else? What else did I miss? I'm sorry, guys. I think I like scrolled this by accident. Way back, I always used to confuse Vigilant Christian and Vigilant Citizen. I think that was the ploy, right? Vigilant Citizen, you would search Vigilant C, and hopefully, alphabetically, you would get Christian before Citizen, I think, right? H-I-J-K. There you go, Justin. H before I. So, yeah. I think that was part of it. I think he wanted to latch on to that success. Because back then, Vigilant Citizen, I mean, listen, it is all grade 1 stuff, yes. It could all just be just as paused, but it was at least entertaining. And he followed that template just in video form instead of website format. So, yeah, I basically, he wanted you to get confused between them both so he could leech off that success. Just like he's trying to leech off this person's success right now. Or what remains of his success. He realized he had a short time to act. He couldn't just witness to him. Say, hey brother, you should be convicted in making these videos. The Holy Spirit should be convicting you. But no, he's going to praise him for calling it all out. When he really didn't call anything out. He's still grifting. It's so ridiculous. This guy is so, like, he doesn't even try anymore. Doesn't try anymore. Like, this is no discernment whatsoever. If he's pushing this person, there is no discernment whatsoever. Call actually cracks me up. He's so angry, just like RFB. I wonder about the call for an uprising. Yeah. Listen, I'm not trying to go rock boats. Like I don't know. I don't know call for an uprising, to be quite honest with you. Like I've seen a couple of his videos. Yes. I never followed him. I think his video about Mario was good in that it exposed Mario. But listen, for those that are newly red pilled or whatever it's called these days, whatever, I'm not trying to get into terms like that. You're always going to have these people that try to rile you up rather than research. They need to stop you from researching. And there are a lot of channels out there. And I'm not saying that Call for an Uprising is one of them, okay? I don't know. But look, okay, let's just observe. I'm not here to bash him. I'm just here to observe what I see. Call for an Uprising YouTube. I mean, the name itself is in all caps. It has an Illuminati triangle that's on fire with an eye that is clearly, you can see the eyebrow raised. Like the eyebrows raised. I'm not saying satanic Illuminati because the eyebrow raised. What I'm saying is that it projects an emotion of fear. There's a tear coming out of the eye. Right? And, maybe you can say, oh no, that's the Illuminati being very fearful of the people rising up. Maybe you can say that, yeah. But I mean, the name itself then also poses its own problem. A call for what uprising? If you're really in Christ, shouldn't you know Revelations by now? That this is all basically going according to the plan of God. And I'm not talking about trust the plan, 2 more weeks Q stuff. I'm talking about the actual plan of God given to John by John the Revelator by revelation. It's and in many other places, of course. It's obvious. Like, there are people trying to sell to new Christians that this is a battle of flesh and blood. Okay? They're trying to keep you in the flesh. They're trying to keep you emotional. and they push onto you your fix, your dopamine fix of what a crazy world, and we've risen above it, and we're the only truth, and it's a cult, okay? And I'm not saying that Call for an Uprising is a cult leader. That's not what I'm getting at here. What I'm saying is, he might be saved. I don't know. I haven't heard enough of him. But he's playing into this fear stuff. Look, I can't find a single character he's typed that doesn't go with a shift key. Okay? And let's look at the actual words. You have to be pretty dumb to fall for this. The Freedom Phone. Okay? Whether or not the Freedom Phone, whether or not what he's saying is true. How is this going to convince someone that doesn't believe you? This is the problem that I've always had within the quote-unquote truth community. I think it's filled with people that intentionally try to get you to hate the outsiders. Even if the truth movement started off legitimate. Even if it did, these people come in, they get you whipped up into a sense of fear. And again, I'm not saying that he is doing it. He could be the one that's whipped up into a sense of fear and doing it on himself. I was one of those people at one point. And I think we all can fall into a trap of sensationalism. Okay? So I'm not... this is not me trying to bash someone just out of nowhere. But you have to look at this and ask yourself the question, what is Dr. Evil doing here? Okay, I see what he's talking about with the rocket. So I'll give him that one. I'll step back on that one. But again, predictive programming. See, here's the... Let's just call this stuff what it is, okay? Learned helplessness. Helplessness. I do that all the time. I don't know why. I'm not really one to go with psychology today, but this is a psychological term. Learned helplessness occurs when an individual continuously faces a negative, uncontrollable situation and stops trying to change their circumstances even when they have the ability to do so. For example, a smoker may repeatedly try to fail and quit. He may grow frustrated and come to believe that nothing he does will help, and therefore he stops trying altogether. The perception that one cannot control the situation essentially elicits a passive response to the harm that is occurring. Okay, so I think that this is being put out on a wide scale. You can see this with ElsaGate. I mention this a lot, but look up for yourself. Go look up ElsaGate, ELSAGATE. Go look at what they were just doing to our children. Psychologically, instilling learned helplessness into them. Because if you instill learned helplessness into somebody, you're able to get a projected outcome. In this case, they mentioned passivity, but it's not just that. You can get feelings of angst, feelings of hatred maybe, feelings of wanting to be a lone wolf kind of thing. You see where I'm going with that? But warning, you get this every day? Warning, full throttle ahead, we're getting closer to the end. The end. Dramatic action needed. See? It makes you feel helpless unless you go do this dramatic action. This is the way to not feel helpless, see? And again, I'm not saying that he's trying to make you feel that way. I'm saying that this is something that has been instilled on a massive scale, and that he could just be another victim. But it is what it is. Look at this. Watch this before it's taken down. I know you're trying to beat the algorithms and things like that. I get that, and maybe you can reach more people, but at what point has this now been watered down to the point of just total delusion? Of total delusion. Like, this is the leaven. This is the leaven that spoils the whole lump. Or leavens the whole lump. But it feels like the bread's all leaven. To me, on this front page, I've heard him say many great things, don't get me wrong, but this is the initial impression that you get when you go on this page. I think that's important to note. It's important to note this. if you're constantly searching channels that are giving you that you hope are giving them truth, and you just constantly see this over and over and over and over, of course you're going to have instilled in you a learned helplessness problem. Well, if you look at it reactively, put it that way. Now, I'm not trying to get into Scientology psychology with the reactive mind and the active mind, but I'm saying instead of being the active audience and looking for these things, you're the target audience, and they're trying to instill this on you. Like he knows that, at the very least, this channel knows that by creating a sense of this angst, you can get more views. That's all I can really prove, because you can hear in his video about Mario about how he has these tricks that you can get around the system and things like that. You see him talk about that when he calls out Mario. Anyways, that's enough, because I'm not trying to say this guy's a shill or anything like that. I really don't know. I don't know if he's saved or not. Okay, all I can tell you is that I see what I see. Okay, I see fear. I see fear porn. And God is not the author of confusion. And I hope, I do hope to see something more fruitful, because he is an intelligent guy. And we could all be saved. And we do all have potential. And I hope that I am not, what do you call it? Giving benefit of the doubt in vain. I don't want to be, But anyways, that's enough. That's enough on that. I don't want to go bashing people I don't know enough about. It's just observing that. Okay, where are we at? Nice Masonic hand gesture he's making. Oh, yeah, the dude, he was doing the diamond hand, wasn't he? The Cassidy Campbell thing. Yeah, possibly. Now, you bear in mind, when he was making that video,
Sneefy family.
he's on an armchair. Okay, the hand signal here, this time, I give him a pass. Because listen, you're stretched out on this big armchair, right? And there's only so many places that your hands can go. And he's trying to excuse himself. And there's only so many different directions until you will finally have your hands meet each other in the middle. Unlike Mario's attempts to always have his finger pointed in the camera's face, which is very unnatural, this seems to be like the only course of events that could naturally happen. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. But it doesn't mean that I don't think he's a shill. I do think that he is an act. I really do. I think he's paid to do this. But good comment. You are right. I see what you were talking. I saw what you were talking about before. I don't know if I can pull it up for you real quick. But yeah, I saw the diamond hand that he was doing. So, just one sec. Oh wow, there's okay, this chat kind of blew up. Uh-oh. I'll keep going. Let's see. Yeah, fruits don't lie. Listen, again, I think there's a lot of potential in Colin. I hope that is not unfounded judgment. RFB is 92. Which one is RFB again? I remember watching a live of his probably 2 years ago, and he was getting high with some lady on her couch pretending they were vaping tobacco. Yeah. The blatant lies right in your face kind of thing. I don't know much. I can't even tell who RFB is. I keep forgetting these acronyms. But, yeah, you got a lot of people that boldly kind of lie to you. The Me Too is largely unhelpful and a guilty before proven innocent system. It only helps for cases like Mario, where he was rude to Deja and many others. Yeah, it was more than rude to Deja. And the Me Too movement was very helpful to the people who orchestrated it. It covered up a lot of actual abuse. And maybe it showed some real stuff too, yeah. Some of it. But by and large, when you really look into who is pushing these things and the money behind it, it's clear that it was the abuse of people launching this as a cover-up. It's obvious. Let's just be real. I don't care if this channel gets taken down. I just don't care anymore. Let's just be real. Me Too was a way to cover up Weinstein, Epstein, all those guys. Because it ties to politicians like John Podesta, Justin Trudeau, all those things. Right? That's why they're trying to shut down free speech and replace it with fake movements. And this is why this all started right after Pizzagate. I don't know if Pizzagate is true or false. I don't think it's been proven. I don't think it's been disproven. I think both sides are really bad at it, and I think it's intentional. So I think it could be a psyop. But I do know, by my research, and you can do it all for yourselves, about the Epstein stuff. There's so much information out there that they're hiding from people. You'll be mind blown at the court documents and things like that you'll read. Mind blown. And that's what they're hiding. Because they pumped up a whole Me Too thing. And what that does then, it desensitizes you later on. What we're talking about with the learned helplessness thing. You follow the leaders of Me Too rather than doing the research for yourself. And finding out that the people behind Me Too and all this stuff were the ones covering up Epstein stuff. And the like. I'm using Epstein as a metonym. He was just one person of many. There's a huge move to New Age BS. Yeah, so it's always been instilled in the society. They have been ramping up its publicity over the years. I think 2012, 2013, 2014, when they were going with all those New Age concerts in pop culture, I think that was like the global move kind of thing on that. But now you're starting to see it in churches, right? You're seeing it in Bethel, and you're seeing it in Hillsong, and you're seeing it in Jesus culture. All of this same kind of Illuminati symbols are showing up there now too. I don't care so much if Ariana Grande and stuff like that. Like, again, I keep saying, I made a video. It was probably my most grossing video, which wasn't all that much anyway. It's just like maybe, I think it's at 50,000 viewers or something like that. But it was popular, and I didn't go ahead with it because, honestly, it's none of my business if, well, it's kind of our business, yes, but to me it's just not important if compared to a church doing it. It's gotten really bad, and it's everywhere. It's getting into Calvinist churches, the Pentecostal churches, everywhere you go now. It's the same stuff, and it's starting to move into Wesleyan. Does he use the King James Bible? Who? I'm not sure. I don't know. Listen. I'll read. I like comparing other versions. I stick with my King James plus lexicon. But I like reading other versions as well and comparing and see where they like to change words around. I've been really interested in the New Living Translation, or whatever it's called now. I just think of it as the New Living. I've been looking at that, and it's quite clear that it has an agenda of a weak God behind it, in my opinion, and a weak discernment for a Christian. The more I read it, the more it seems like they try and push judgment as something that is always wrong, rather than judging righteously. So I like checking all those versions, but if I want to go to the Word of God and I want to know what God says, I don't just go KJV. I go KJV plus lexicon, because a lot of times it is a little bit hard to understand, and also there's references that you won't quite get the context of unless you're in the society. Like if you learn other languages and things like that, you'll realize that you can literally learn translations, but you won't understand connotations behind them until you get the culture of the language behind it. Okay, so I think it's really important for a new listener not to it's important not to cast it away, because you need the KJV, in my opinion. But you need to be careful on how you're telling these people, because if they don't understand 1500s English, they can eisegete it, especially if they're new in God. They're going to put meanings into things that they should not be, just like they do with anything. But it's really easy to do so with the King James. Okay? And that's not knocking the King James. Again, King James is my home base, man. it's my home base. But at the same time, you got to make sure that newcomers in Christ that aren't fully understanding, they have the lexicon behind them, in my opinion. You can cross-reference things. You can see where the context was done in earlier chapters. It's really important to see the words behind the Greek words, the Hebrew, and things like that. You don't want to get lost in a translation that you don't know. And again, I'm going to finish it again by saying I read the King James Bible predominantly. And I think it is the one to read. But at the same time, we can't idolize it as if God is going to translate it for us. Okay? Like to give us every meaning properly, we also have to do our own study. Okay? So just be careful on that for any new readers. Like you don't want to eisegete the Bible. I'll give you eisegesis. It's a weird word that I like to recycle to sound smart. I'm just kidding. I'm not bragging either. Praise God. It's only through Him that I have any discernment. Eisegesis is the process of interpreting text in such a way as to introduce one's own presuppositions, agendas, or biases. It is commonly referred to as reading into the text. Okay, in the, I guess, the Christian studies world or whatever, eisegesis is a very common term, and it's something that's very frowned upon. So just be really careful on that. It is important to tell people that the newer translations are, many of them are very compromised. Yes, it's very important, but make sure that, you have them equipped. You know what I mean? So that they can get the best out of it. Now, of course, there is no teacher like the Holy Spirit, I understand. But we also do have to do our own reply and response. We have to be the Berean and search the word. Hope that makes sense. I'd like to see more salvation content from a call. I only have his Easter debate with TVC. Yeah, let's see. Find it interesting that TVC debated him. Because TVC isn't going to go around debating actual, well-read, well-read Christians. It's not going to happen. I didn't know they did a debate. I was big into call for a long time until he led us nowhere. I mean, again, I can't speak to that myself, but Speak Life, you're not the kind of person to just go bashing people. I think there might be something to what you're saying there, because it's exactly what we see in many other things. They just keep you kind of emotion led on a string. And if you're really saved, you got to think about this stuff. If you're creating this type of content, why are you capitalizing all this stuff? Why is this so important to have such eye-catching, fear-inducing lines? If you're really saved, you have to ask yourself, are you manipulating your fan base? Are you leading astray those in Christ by talking about being Christian? I hope he does ask these questions to himself. I have heard another video as well where he's saying that he's not, he doesn't live up to the standard that he believes he should. So I've heard him speak about it, but here we are. Still the same thing. Anyways, I'm going to actually just shut that one down, because I didn't mean to make this about bashing this guy. I don't know him well enough. But I see what I see, and apparently I'm not the only one. let's see. Sorry if I missed anything. I'm gonna do a wrap-up call there now. If I missed your comment after or before Speak Life, that thing that I just addressed, you can repost your comment now. I'm just gonna read down from that. I'm sorry if I missed your messages before, guys. Jesus is freedom. I love waking every morning and thanking God that I did. Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it? His phone also meant next. It's one big psyop. Yeah, I think the psychological operation is that we are all to be instilled with learned helplessness, and if you are instilled with learned helplessness, you look to seek a remedy for that, and often they've already programmed, especially when they're younger in these Elsagate videos, they've programmed you that someone administers something to you to make it feel better again. And that's what these guys are doing. The left wing has cancel culture, SJW, all that stuff. They all remember, like, I need feminism because, remember those posters? It's not a coincidence that you just find these all over the world. I need feminism because, and it was always like, because we're stronger together than we are alone, right? And I'm not just bashing feminists either. I am a right-winger, yes, but I'm seeing the same problems on the right. Okay, let's hold on. Just National Pulse. Let's just see what they're up to today. Let's just see. On any given day, you can almost see this all the time. Oh, unless you get pulled off the internet. Whatever. Okay, National Pulse is offline. Just drop something in the chat, see if you can hear me there now, guys. For some reason, my internet went down for like 10 seconds. I don't know why. Made no sense. Okay, am I back? Let me know. Sorry about that, guys. Something dropped. Just let me know if you hear me there now. And sorry if there's reverb, I'm just trying to check on my end. Sorry about that, guys. Something dropped. Okay. Alright, we'll just leave it like that because I'm pretty sure I hear it. I know I'm probably cleared out the chat as well, too. So I'm going to keep reading on if I can hear you guys. Let's see. What was I missing before I started finishing up? Whoa. Wow, you guys got busy in the chat. Really busy. Hold on, I'm just going to start reading this out totally. Yeah, the faith family thing, man. Is that not? Like, that's really... It's so annoying. So annoying to listen to that all the time. Comment like something must be different in chemtrails there. Yeah. There's a lot of grifters online, man. And listen, again, I'm not trying to say that call for an uprising is one of them. I'm saying that the truth movement, the Christians on YouTube, whatever you want to call, any of these groups, these circles, a lot of them have fake content creators. Okay? I wasn't fake, but like I got into a group where they were trying to like fake being sock puppet accounts and things like that, and we were attacking other people, things like that, right? So it, whether or not I was real doesn't matter. I was compromised, and this is how this works. So you got to be like really careful. That's what I'm just trying to get at there. Self-worship, that's what it is. Yep. There's a huge move to that. Call for the truth is observation and seeking. Reality is what you choose to see. It's pretty relativistic. Is that a word? Relativistic. It's pretty appealing to relativism. Let's say that. It was really suspicious what he did after Jeff passed away. I posted his video on my channel. Also, he went on the Gematria guy's channel. Seemed like they were just stirring up a fight for views. He offers no solutions, just gets you upset. And yeah, so hold on. That's often the crux. I don't know where I learned this before, about 10 years back, but I had to come back to it. This is the crux of learned helplessness. They need to keep you at a state where there is no resolution. It's the most effective because it festers in your mind, and it makes you feel more and more helpless over time, right? And like Jeff was like a perfect opportunity to do that. Do you remember like his video chat room was just like people basically, it was like a vigil or a worship center even. Some of the things I was seeing was so sad to hear, or so sad to read. Call for an Uprising does have a great intro. Yeah. Jeff and Call got into a real debacle. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure. Repetition is the first lesson of training for teachers. Yeah, just keep repeating. Just keep drilling it in there. That's what they do. That's what they do. They threw some big dogs to the masses to sacrifice for all of their crimes. Yeah. For the Me Too movement. Yeah, that's what was going on there. They couldn't save Wiener, and they couldn't save Weinstein. Right, so they had to get rid of them, and then to prevent any further damage control, because Weinstein is in a Hollywood, so you can see one thing, right? You can see one facet of this 7 mountains garbage that both sides are pushing, right? But you start going into, talking more about Wiener and Epstein, then you start seeing schools and governments and media companies, and like news companies, not just Hollywood, right? That's when you start seeing a lot of that. That's the crazy part. That is definitely the crazy part. Yeah, so they had to make Me Too to cover that up. Where are we at now? FYI, in public speaking in college, they teach you various ways to hold your hands that isn't offensive, like pointing. Several of those correlate with Masonic hand signs. I just don't trust anyone, JK. No. It's a good point. In debate, like in Canada, you can't ever point a pen at someone in Parliament. It's considered like threatening. Things like that, right? So, yeah, people know. Like they know a lot of them know their things. I'm gonna give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt on the hand signal there with the Cassidy Campbell thing. Doesn't mean that he's legit, but just playing it on the conservative side. I don't want to overcall too many things, because I've been focusing a lot on this broken blue sphere thing. I don't want to go full tinfoil hat when you add it all together. I'll pick my battles. That's what I'll say. It's not tinfoil hat to look at that and be suspicious, but I just pick my battles. That's all. People get turned off with the these and thous. It's not that difficult to cross-reference. Yeah, but it's not just these and thous. Let's be fair. There's grammar that's no longer common in English. There's various. Actually, there are sundry ways that the language has been changed over time. Not everybody knows what I mean when I say sundry ways. That's a good example for that. Sundry almost sounds like desolate when it means various, for those who don't know. So like a lot of stuff like that, it can be a backtrack. And even if you're reading a version that is new, you can still eisegete into it. Just like you can read the King James Bible and eisegete into it. I mean, Joseph Smith. He created the Mormon religion out of the King James Bible. And obviously his other dreams and stuff added into it. But, you know what I mean? Reading the King James Bible is not a protection spell to remove all heresy. That's what I mean by that, okay? It's really important to be reading that text and to be searching the word no matter which version you use. I think when you start to do so, you start realizing that KJV is the true inspired text when you compare it to NASB, NIV, NLT. You know, like these ones are really bad. The only one that I'll often read other than KJV is ESV, and even then it's not the same as having a KJV with a lexicon. You can just see word by word that this was inspired. It was meant to be written the way it was written. But you still have to do the work to make sure that your own interpretations aren't being injected into it. It's terrible Trump supporters covered for Trump and Epstein. Okay, good call. All right. This is a big problem, but I will say this. There's been something set up so that one side won't look at the other side for evidence, and they only expose the other side. This is what the deception is. Okay? This is what it has always been since at least 2015. Let's take a look. Just one sec. They're always getting you to point. Let's just go through my subscriptions, okay? And listen, by the way, my subscriptions are not endorsements. I follow people that I do not agree with as well as I agree with. As you can see, global news here. There's many things, all right? So don't judge me by what I got going on here. There's many different reasons why I look into channels. But what I will show is that there's always a pointing from the same people. Let's go to about 2 o'clock today, because that's when all of the shills posted their time for highest viewership, or around noon your time. Okay, here we go. So around here, this is the time. This is where they know that they will get the most viewership. These people that are ultra focused on views and money, essentially, right? I'm not saying Casper's one of them, but the check marks. See, this is where any check marks, the few that I have on my channel, I was subscribed on my channel. This is where they show up this time of day. Let's see. Fugitive Texas Democrats who flew maskless on private jet caught COVID, then met with Kamala Harris. And so you get this red text pointed over his reaction of the picture that will catch the most heads. Right? Pointing at the Democrats all day. Well, that's a little bit... It was actually a bad day to show this example. Plus size travelers angry they can't go bungee jumping article. I mean, he's a comedian, but he pushes a lot of right wing stuff, and it's just like it's always just pointing and either laughing or screaming at the other side. All this bringing, like the left, they're such snowflakes. Like okay, maybe they are, and you're just as bad. You're always look at this Black and White Entertainment. Don't think that name isn't lost there. Selling merch when they had like 2,000 subscribers. Mandalorian star Bill Burr destroys CNN. See, all these people are focused on the culture war. All of these, the ones that were calling them all patriots and stuff, during the Trump presidency, they're all basically like, it's just culture war all day, keeping you distracted on the culture war. That's the distraction, in my opinion. They all want you focused on that, and they use your emotions and everything like that ahead of you. Just one second. Let's see if I missed anything else. If you've typed in chat since my disconnection, I do not see your messages, so sorry about that. Just 1 second. I was KJ only, now it's my rock, but I use all kinds of translations, the book for translators and definitions of original words. I love eSword and my Bible study app. Bingo! eSword is the bomb. I've never made a cent off YouTube. I've never made a cent off the internet, actually, I'm pretty sure. I've never made a cent. I don't think I've even like sold anything on Kijiji, to be honest. Or like other, eBay back in the day, whatever. But these I will shill for the eSword. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry guys. eSword. Oh, I think it's e-sword.net. Yeah. So yeah, check this out, guys, because when you have this program, you can actually turn that KJV. There's a little tab there. It says KJV Plus, and that plus means it adds on every word of the Greek, and the Hebrew. I don't think that they do Esther in Aramaic. I think they go Hebrew, but yeah, they have every word in the Bible that is basically cross-reference to where it was done or where it was used in other parts of the Bible. It's great for cross studies, as long as you're being the Berean in your research. This will help you to more quickly understand the Bible. I think so, because like the thing is, like, when you start seeing the coincidences, they're not coincidences, but when you start seeing the congruencies of the Bible, when you start reading different books from different times or of the same times by people who never met each other but they confirm each other, things like that, when you start looking at word by word what is being referred to, are they using special terms for certain things, you can really get an in-depth study as long as you're careful with it and you're not just interpreting things on your own. You can get a real deep understanding of what metaphors are used in the Bible, what type of merisms, all different types of literary devices. It can really make you appreciate your Bible more. It's not like, and there's nothing added on, because I know like all these cults out there, they talk about like, my Book of Mormon is going to make you love your Bible more. This is not about like adding on to the Bible. This is about seeing what each word in the Bible was used for. This is God's word. Each word is there for a reason. Each comma, each iota is there for a reason. And to get an understanding, etymologies for the word, it's amazing, in my opinion. It's not going to save you. Okay, so let's just put it that way. You don't need this eSword thing to understand the Word of God. It's clear in the Word of God that even a child can understand it. So don't get pompous about it either. That's what I mean by this. Okay, it's not extra understanding that you know better. It's just it's something that can give you a little bit of a head start to do what anybody could do if they read the Bible cover to cover, or in a certain order or anything like that. It's just that with this tool you may have at many times the ability to search things faster, and I don't see why you shouldn't take advantage of it. I think it's pretty great. So 1 sec, let me see if I can get this chat working again. I'm very sorry about that disconnection. I don't know what happened earlier. I really don't know what happened. Just a moment. I think I got the new ones. Yeah, I definitely do. Okay, back to the chat. Okay, hey, back. There you are. Yeah, and for some reason when I connected and I went back into the chat, it said that I was able, like, I could see the hey test thing that worked, but I never got any questions after that. So I think I caught up there, and this is the same stream. You're back and the sound is good. This is the same stream. Are you starting a new stream? Yes, I will probably start creating, we'll do some replays and we'll play into the night, because I can't really go speaking too much at the moment, but we can go into some videos. I want to start looking a little bit more into the NAR. One of the one of the YWAM cult survivors, or whatever you want to call it, she actually just posted recently again after not posting for a year. I'd like to play that, maybe a part of it, because she just, like, she BTFOs the mind control. And this woman was like, she's like 20 years old, like very, very precocious, and she was able to withstand this, what I believe is MK Ultra training in religious form with YWAM. Not only was she able to identify, stand her ground against it, she has an impressive and precocious gift of discernment for a 20-year-old. And she really saw through all the problems, and she presents it quite well. So I would like to maybe talk about that, or at least address it. But yeah, we'll finish this chat first, and then maybe I'll open up a new one, and we can go from there, because I want to also try to keep the length of these down as well, to be honest. I know it's daunting to make, watch 8 hours of Justin stuttering. Nobody wants to watch that. Let's see, Brian, is there a way to read it in English? I apologize. I agree. Hold on, where did I lose you? 1001 Nights, Arabic, great book. I think I read that back in the day. I think. Wienerhead picks, yeah. That's not untrue, Brian. Yes, as in a sundry shop. It just means it's like an old variety shop, right? I'm into this missing girl case right now, and her parents are Seventh-day Adventists. It's been interesting. Sad for the little girl, though. Every word has meaning. If you delete words and add words, you change the language. Yeah, but if you misinterpret words, you also do so as well. That's what right. You see it with hate and fear and pride. Words are being distorted, and there's more than one way to destroy a word. The destruction of words is a beautiful thing. And it's not me saying that. It's somebody in 1984. They've been pushing changes in language hard these days. Yeah. It's legit newspeak attempts. Legit. Save your dictionaries. Save your paper dictionaries from like the 1980s and stuff like that. Collect them. We can't worry about the world. But if you want history to be preserved for, if there's a future, then, and I'm not trying to scare anybody by saying that, but there's clearly an authoritarian coup going on right now, and all authoritarian coups, right wing or left wing, are going to be burning books that don't fit their ideology. And it's not just leftist. There's two wings, and each side can only be seen by the other. This is some heavy deception, man. Like, personally, my eschatology is quite bad. But I am definitely wondering, are we seeing the Great Deception take place right now? Because the NAR is massive. The Word of Faith movement, the Emergent Church, massive. And they're all tied together through Templeton Institute and all these different groups like that you can clearly tie back to a couple schools in Oxford that are tied to the Maxwells and Jesuits, Templetons. We went through that in the last one, but that's just one line of connection there. I think this is two wings of people, two wings of the same bird. One, SJW and woke. The other is God's, quote unquote, God's warriors. If that didn't glow of a Jesuit psyop, I don't know what will. God's warriors. I'm pretty sure God's soldiers was their nickname, wasn't it? God's soldiers. That's what they call themselves. Right? And these people lining themselves up to be spiritual generals. Like, hold on a second. warfare generals. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Sorry. I'm in my utility window. My bad. Cindy Jacobs, by the way. That's a big name in that. Look at this. You got your... Wouldn't you know, right? You got your 2 wings. 8, 8. Right? No, it's 9, 9. My bad. But still. 2 wings. Generals International. That's what they're calling themselves. Discipling nations in the area of prayer and prophetic gifts. And their prophetic gifts is one of prophecy and the glory. And they say they're going to take back the earth via 7 mountains mandate. And that generals, to which they refer to, is talking about spiritual warfare, to which they consider themselves the generals of this spiritual warfare. They're just the other side of the SJW. In fact, I know this is a bit boring, but stay with me just for one moment. Okay, I'm going to show you. Spiritual warfare, no, seven mountains mandate. Let's do that. Just remember these, okay? Business, government, family, religion, media, education, and entertainment. Al-Tusi. I think it's Al-Tusi. Tusi. 8 areas of influence. Can I get it real quick for you guys? Can it be done? Luis Al-Tusi. Actually, the scripture store is still here. I gotta ask you a French question. If I know often S acts as a liaison, but if it's a proper name, would it be Louis Al-Tusi or Luis Al-Tusi? Quick question if you're still in there. Does it act as a liaison when you're speaking about proper names? So Althusser is he's a commie. He's a French Marxist, right? And one of the things that he did, he believed that there was influence. Hold on. And it's well scrubbed. Government and law. Will I get it? I think I might get it. Just bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, this is pretty scary stuff too. Look at this. Formal mechanisms of... I didn't get the right one, but... Formal mechanisms of social control through public policy, resistance and reification, surveillance and political violence, mass media. 2019, by the way, that this one was written. But if you look into Althusser, he mentions that there are 8 ones. And when you look into what those 8 are, it is almost exactly the same mountains. The only difference between it was, I think, for economy they said unions, but it's the same thing. It's who controls the mean of production. And government had a government and then law, whereas often 7 Mountains mandate refers to government and law as the same thing. That was the only real difference between the entire thing. If you look up Althusser in the 8 areas and you find what I'm looking for there, I can probably get it on the next one. It shows it's the exact same thing. The commie woke SJW social control is the same beast as the 7 Mountain Mandates, God Soldiers, QAnon, all that stuff. It's the same beast, the same lie. They're saying that the system is corrupt and they need to take it over. What a coincidence, right? What a coincidence that 7 Mountains Mandate and Althusser, when he wrote this, it was just a couple years apart from each other. I think actually I'll start with a video. Yeah, I know, my internet went down for a couple seconds. Sorry about that. I will start the next video that I do, or the live stream that I'll pop up after this. I'll play the video that compares the two that I was watching, actually. He explains it a lot better than I do. Let's see. I thought about the Amish a lot lately. They've gotten an advantage on us. Oh, because of independent living. Yeah, maybe. I mean, upon what rock did Jesus say he'd build his church? Well, it wasn't Peter. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it wasn't built on the foundation of a man. The Bible is the only book taught to children. You can choose to read other books. Oh, yeah, kinda, but the Amish only read the Plattdeutsch version of the Bible. Most of the Amish groups, if I'm not mistaken. So, like the Dutch Amish or whatever, like everybody says Dutch, but that Dutch is just like how they would say Deutsch for German. So they got a German Bible, even though they only speak English, most of the kids these days, and so they can't read the Bible, right? So like, it's good in some ways that the Amish don't have the woke propaganda, but there's also a lot of mind control within Amish and Mennonite communities as well. Like a lot of those Anabaptist colonies, they were pretty. They could get tyrannical. Let's put it that way. I do like their independent nature, maybe. Why was the chat deleted? Oh, it was because I disconnected. So then the chat messages, once I got back in, when I didn't refresh anything, it just didn't show the comments that were coming in after. So I had to refresh. That's what I was talking about earlier. Media hypes anything that gets a click. Yeah, but then there's also stuff, they'll hype stuff that isn't. They'll hype stuff that people don't think is popular too. So you gotta ask yourself why. Yeah, you are right. They chase the box, right? They chase the box. Yes, they do. But then they also have a mandate to push stuff that isn't popular, and they need to make it popular. You gotta ask yourself why. Well, I don't know if you can really say that Amish is not a religion, dude. They're Anabaptist. They're a special type of Anabaptist. Their culture, their culture is based on how they interpret the Bible, which is different from the way that everybody else interprets the Bible. So I would certainly call Amish a religion, without a doubt. And the other stuff I know as well, there's a lot of mind control going on there. They're not as based as everybody is pushing. Half of them can't read the Bible that they have, right? Most of them can't. I mean, like, what does that remind you of? What does that remind you of? The Dark Ages, basically. I mean, they were trying to keep the Bible in Latin and in Greek for hundreds of years. They can live by culture all they want, but a lot of the culture, like the non-use of the asceticism, the non-use of electricity and things like that, they're based off of eisegeting the Bible. So it's not just culture. I think culture and religion are tied pretty hand in hand. I mean, you can keep saying it, but they believe that their religion teaches them that they must do these things. So it is a religion of works. Yeah, so is the NAR though, for being the label. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and it doesn't mean that it's not heresy. hopefully that's clear. Anybody can say that they're loosely based on each other, but like you know, it's like the Occupy movement. It is kind of going off track, but like the Occupy movement when they were like, we're completely decentralized, man. And you don't realize that it's like just it's all Tides money coming in to like ad busters in Vancouver who then go to New York. Yeah, Brian, let's just agree to disagree. The Amish have their own problems just like everybody else, every other church, especially ones that have an organization. Like Amish don't go out to non-Amish churches. Like their religion and their culture are based together. It doesn't mean that it negates one or the other. Yeah, because of Petros, right? The Catholics believe Peter was his rock because they misinterpreted Jesus telling Peter, on this rock I shall build my church. Yeah. I think it's because, the rock it said it's Petros, right? And Peter, the word itself means rock. And they also needed divine authority to keep running Rome as the quote unquote head of the church. Yeah, Brian, this is sliding, bro. I'm gonna have to put you on timeout for a moment. There's no need to repeat yourself. We can let other people speak and give comments. Just a couple more minutes before we run out the clock, but yeah. No need to be shilling for the Amish. 10 out of 12 comments. Je comprends pas. Mais c'est quoi ça? Oh. Never mind, it's no big deal. It's pronunciation. Je suis tête carrée quand même, là. Good old French. I gotta say, I'm really losing my French. I was just trying to talk to myself in French couple days ago because I was speaking to you and I felt really rusty and I could barely churn out a sentence without having to really think about it and translate it in my head. Even some basic the irregular verbs, I find it pretty hard. By the way, if you see fake news in the YouTube recommendation, please click the 3 dots and then not interested. YouTube needs to take a hint. Oh, they know. You're giving them too much credit, Scripture Shores. You're giving them way too much credit. Listen, if you really want to do something about getting rid of a lot of those videos on your stuff, get de-mainstream YouTube. DE-mainstream. And basically it'll pull most of the mainstream videos for you. But even then, if you're a left-winger, it's going to send you to Destiny and Vouch, which I've never been sent to. And if you're a right-winger, you're inevitably going to get sent to Jordan Peterson, Fox, the Fox affiliates that go under the radar, and Harvard University. It's ridiculous. They know exactly what they're doing. they're shoving it in your face for demoralization. Don't waste your time on it because it's only reviewed by a bot. Well, I mean, it's the last couple of moments before I finish off the live stream. So I wanted everybody to have a chance to speak and not just a wall of text dedicated to the Amish. What triggered that, by the way? Are we talking about the whole thing, the whole spiritual? Could that have been a trigger for something, by the way? Because this was very, very wall texty, slidey stuff. What were we talking about before that? All the resurrection of the superhero worship is going to play into this. I told my husband years ago that there will be superheroes and supervillains in real life with powers. Okay, buddy. So I'll give you another example. Go on YouTube, look up Project Veritas. Just go to any of their. Just go to any of them. Doesn't matter.
How?
I've never seen this, but I can almost guarantee if I search hero right now. Yeah. It's just constant lulling, right? Hero. It's just you're the best. You're the best. What's another good example of this? Scripture source may not like me for this one. I'm not trying to black pill anybody here, but Pierre Poilievre. Did I say his name right? Yes. It's not hard. It's not easy to spell as an Anglophone scripture. I can't. I'm actually somewhat impressed. Praise God. It's all him. I'm nothing. Just a donkey. Yeah.
You know,
Listen, I like that, Pierre actually talks to people, but at the end of the day, I think he's an appeaser. I don't think he really spits many red pills. Your tax dollars funding the technology of genocide. I mean, yeah, I guess. Activist demand for plastic ban leaves. Listen, I mean, yeah, it's good that he's going up against the left, but maybe that's what they feel that you would be most satisfied with if you saw someone actually saying something against it. At least we have someone, and then you'll be appeased, right? At the end of the day, this guy is just sitting down, and let's be honest with this. He's preaching to the choir, okay? And I still watch him. You can see here that some of these videos are I watch. Like, I'm not completely against the guy, but the more I see him, the more I'm like, this is all just the culture war issues. You're playing to the culture war. Like, where's the talk of, Bon Saint Jean Baptiste? So, like, he has no problem pushing Aaron O'Toole, right? He doesn't have a problem pushing these guys. There's O'Toole. Right? O'Toole is in with China. He's got a Huawei executive on his team. He's a sellout. He's an SJW basically in conservative fashion. And there's another interesting thing as well. If you look at the Canadian coalition, just give me 1 second, okay? Canadian Coalition of Apostles. Canadian Coalition. Give me one moment. What do they call themselves? Oh no, go away, Black Lives Matter. ICA leaders, Canadian Coalition. This should bring me to it. Oh yeah, baby. Okay, so quick rundown. International Coalition of Apostolic Leaders. This is the new Apostolic Reformation. There's a bunch of, for lack of a better word, douchebags who, abusive douchebags who think that they're apostles and prophets. And I'm not going to get into the argument whether that exists today. I don't believe so because Hebrews 1:1. But I think there could be some gifts that could continue today. I understand that. I don't think that they're one of them. I think it's pretty obvious that they're scammers the more you look into it. But look who else you see here. Who's that? I know this is a blurry image, but Canadians. This is the leader of the Conservative Party, or it was the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. And he's meeting with all the apostles and prophets. And they're discussing policy. And this is not the only time that they do this kind of stuff. Oh, there's your nice Illuminati lights they got setting up there. I know it looks like I'm kind of being picky there, but keep watching these new Apostolic Reformation people. It's no joke. That is the triangle that they're trying to put up there. So, yeah, we got some problems with these people, and they're just as woke as any lefty. Every one of them. Every one of them. Look at this. The leader, the one who coined the term New Apostolic Reformation and created this international coalition of apostles. See Peter Wagner. Just check this out. Transfer of wealth. The guy wrote a friggin' book on it. He wrote a book on the transfer of wealth. What a coincidence. It's what the lefties are talking about. See Peter Wagner. Remember Cindy Jacobs? We were just talking about her. There she is, right? Eh? The leader of the New Apostolic Reformation and Sidney Jacobs are talking about the great transfer of wealth. What a coincidence. People are talking about inclusive capitalism and going woke, making sure that everybody's taken care of and all that stuff. And these people are the ones that are supposed to be fighting back against communism, as all their garbage media outlets try and say they are, and shill for them all day and pretend that they're your heroes. But really, they're pushing the same things. They're pushing the exact same things, just much more subtle. And they also they both push pedophilia. let's just say it right. They're a bunch of human traffickers. That's what they are. They want to control the spread of information so they don't get busted. And they have this little plan for you, keep you all locked down, and then they control your resources and the way that the resources are distributed among the community. And this is what they want. This is what these guys are. They're all part of the same thing. You're not going to fool me into thinking that the right side is good, the left side is good anymore, because I'm sick of it. Jesus Christ is good. That's it. Here, let God be good, let God be true, and all men a liar. It's very simple. I know I bastardized that quote. Yes, I know. Or not quote, but that verse. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Let God be true and all men a liar. Because that's what they are. Bunch of liars. The Bible proclaims that you must transfer your wealth in more inclusive capitalism for God. Get out of here. You know what I mean? Oh, it was just constant talking about Amish. Just Amish. It's not a big deal. I don't like how when you time someone out for a certain period of time, the messages get deleted. And I can... Just give me 1 second. Because I wasn't trying to delete them all. I was just like, okay, this is a wall of text, so let's calm this down. That's all I mean to do. Let me go... is it here? Yeah. Just for the record. I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to delete comments or anything like that. Yeah, these are okay. Yeah. So Templeton Institute can try, but Amish will double in size in North America by 2035. So it's quite an Brian, that was quite the segue. I gotta say that. That's kind of sketch. What does it matter about the Amish? I'm very confused about why this had to become the primary, because yeah, as you can, this is why I did the timeout, because it was just like, okay, well, I was answering about the Amish and stuff, and it was just, Amish is not a religion, it's a way of life, but it is a religion. It's Anabaptist with their own spin, and by culture. And then I was like, well, I explained why, and then it was just like repetition. Amish are not a religion. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if you don't want to address my points, then, you know, if you just want to slide all conversation that everybody else is having, then I'm gonna slow that down, put that in check. That's all. It's an obsolete add-on, but it can block a lot of channels. So we get, oh yeah, the mainstream media. Yeah, they didn't keep up with it. But you can add in other stuff as well. And it does knock out, like, I don't ever see Fox News. I don't ever see NBC anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot of stuff that's knocked out. Maybe Brian is really Mario. No, I don't think so. I think that if I was an Epstein or a Jesuit with their ties to Balliol College and a Templeton or a Maxwell that has all their ties to Balliol College and how much money goes through the Templeton Foundation, yes, I would want to be sliding that conversation as well, rather than letting people know about it. So I would just start talking about a religion that is controversial, let's say. I'm not saying that he's trying to do that. I'm just seeing what I see, a wall of text talking about something completely unrelated to the topic that was at hand. It would be typical of forum sliding. Let's see. I know that conservative has a lot of snakes and wolves. Doug Ford, François Legault, Pierre. Which one's last name Pierre? Or Pierre Poilievre? Yeah, O'Toole's really, really bad. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the election. I'm not voting Trudeau, obviously, and I'm certainly not going NDP. But, like, what do you do with this Conservative Party? These people are fakers. What do you like? Pierre Poilievre is not the leader of the party. He will never be the leader of the party if he's legit. And I think he's just like he's the equivalent of like Ron Paul or Ted Cruz. They might say a little bit extra than your average rhino, but at the end of the day, they're there to drag heels. You know? I think. Like, they can put off a good show that they're actually fighting each other, but nothing's getting done. Nothing is, like, there's no true ideological opposition to what's happening on the left because they're part of the same thing. They're all centrist totalitarians. The people who are pushing the communist side are not communists. The people that are pushing the fascist side are not fascists. Necessarily. It's not about the left or right. It's just the totalitarian. They need to push whatever they can, get them fighting with each other so they can get all the controls that they want as possible, right? My best friend dog passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. I've been within God and stuff, plus getting into some areas where God is showing me some stuff I might be putting all together for all God willing. Well, of course, God willing, and prayers to you as you go through that time. It's so tough to lose your dog. Yeah. I hope I answered on your chat deletion. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm not looking to hide people's chat. I want to allow other people to be able to speak. That's all. And that wasn't happening when you're creating walls of text. Not you, Speak Life. You're okay. Yeah, okay. Well, we agree to disagree, Brian. Let's move on. I'd rather talk more about the Templeton Institute because they are the people that are fooling right-wingers. I mean, Amish have no power. They're like the hermit religion. I don't know why it really matters. Jesuits are far more subversive, and that's exactly what happened with the Templeton Foundation. Just look at this. Anthony Kelly. Oh, I covered this last time as well. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah, we covered this last time. We have this guy. I didn't even see him talk about Winnie Mandela. That's an interesting read. But this is Brief Encounters, Notes from a Philosopher's Diary. I highly recommend you guys read this for yourself. There's some very juicy stuff in here. But essentially, this guy will tell you in his introduction that he was a Jesuit school of St. Francis Xavier, in the center of the city, and he apparently leaves the Jesuit order, but he takes up theology, astrology, and some other stuff that Jesuits obsess over. But of course he left, right? Because Jesuits just leave the order. It's such baloney. But anyways, he, long story short, he goes to Balliol College in Oxford, and this is where all of these Templeton Institute or Templeton Foundation people come from, and it's also where all of these NAR people come from, and there is certainly ties to Clinton. I think 4 of the Maxwell kids, like Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, 4 of the Maxwell kids went to Balliol, and this guy in this here talks about how they give vast sums of money to an investor that uses astrology to make his stock picks. Who do you think that could be? The people the guy who's associated with all the names I just freaking mentioned. I nearly just swore. Like who do you think that could be? It's obviously Epstein, or like one of his kind, but most likely Epstein. And they go through the Templeton Foundation, and this is why someone would want to slide about Amish and stuff like that, because the ties are so. Look, come here. I haven't explained this well enough to you. Look, he explains himself as a Jesuit, how he becomes the headmaster at Balliol College, and through being that headmaster, he meets many people. See? We got like Alexander Jones, Jack Kennedy, Herbert McCabe, Cardinals, Oxford Dons, Benefact, Bill Coolidge, David Astor. Okay? But the big one. 3 businessmen, Warwick Fairfax, Robert Maxwell, and John Templeton. And it's not another John Templeton. It's the John Templeton who had a John or Jack Templeton for a son. It's the very guy that we're talking about here of the Templeton Foundation. Billions of dollars goes through the Templeton Foundation into quote-unquote right-wing companies. Like, you know, all these Trumpite stuff. This is where they get their money from. All these grants from these people. Yeah, I'd want to slide that too if I was paid by Templeton money. This is like the tides of the right wing. Yeah. People can play complacent when they think others are fighting for them, like lawsuits, etc. Yep, yeah, exactly. Another thing, this chickie that's with them, Project Veritas. I see. She's the first thing that comes up. She's in with all those Templeton Institute programs as well. She was just doing something. She was on Alex Jones, and like at the end they kind of like plugged her. Where can we find you and stuff like that. She said that she was doing something on advancing immigration in the company in Texas, down at the border. Right? This right winger, this Fox News reporter who has exposed Fox. You know, she's part of these same groups that are bringing in the immigrants. Which, like, again, I don't have anything against immigrants. I'm saying that the timing of all of this right now is now ridiculous. Like, we have inflation, and there's unemployment, and I don't know about down there, but there's a housing crisis here. And they keep flooding in people that don't care about the country. Well, at least they haven't been born into our society to that they are necessarily integrated with our culture. They're removing the barriers or the prerequisites to understand our culture, to study our history and things like that, saying that, you know, for whatever reason, racist, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, it has nothing to do with hating the immigrants. It's that these policies are ridiculously terrible, and for some reason both sides are pushing it. Like, seriously, go into CPAC, because this is the same money, Templeton Foundation. It makes its way to CPAC as well, right? And you look at all these partner organizations, and it's like, you know, it's the same thing. Immigration trafficking, outreach programs, it's the same thing as the left. It's just meant to placate you and pretend to be anti-communist. They pay lip service to anti-communists, is what they do. Yeah, I love it. She mentioned, I love them, Brian. Wish they were more like the Acts Church, though. Yeah, it's because I've seen other parts of Anabaptists too that aren't that were okay. You know what I mean? Like I could kind of chill out in the church, I guess. And I guess the spirit wouldn't be offended with heresy, maybe? I can just say that. Some of them are even closer than I think, you know, a lot of the Baptist churches and stuff like that too, right? So I'm not saying all Anabaptists. I'm saying that the Amish, there's a lot of control in the society. And I don't believe that is what Jesus taught. And I don't believe it's what the early church taught. I think it was about discourse. Even when it said their mouths must be stopped, it was about discourse. And they don't allow that in that environment. Thank you for caring. It's been rough. Hey, no problem. No problem. And I'll keep you in my prayers for sure. I shared before that I cast a vote for who will lead the Conservative Party. Lewis first, Sloan second, but it was O'Toole who I didn't rank. Same with McKay who won. Yeah, it's all. I'm pretty sure our version of primaries, I think we call them conventions. The voting is done by Dominion for the parties. I'm pretty sure that Dominion does it. I think Bernier. Listen, I don't like Bernier, but I think he beat out Scheer, and I think it was rigged so that Scheer won. And this is not an endorsement for Bernier, even though I ideologically probably am closer to the PPC than the CPC. I won't be voting for Bernier and all that stuff. But I think he got scammed out of the leadership back in 2015 or 2016, whenever that was. Okay, yeah, we'll probably finish this up there now, guys, if there isn't anything. I'm really tired of these groups, Freemason, Templeton, so on. Yeah, it's like how they transfer wealth around while getting out of taxes. Yeah, it's also they transfer the wealth so that you don't see them giving money directly to activist causes. Right? So they have their board of directors, which are completely paused by them, and they put in the money, but when you see those companies give the money to the activists, or you look up the funding for an activist, those who aren't good researchers won't pick up on the fact that the money behind it is actually from Templeton. They'll only see the NGOs and the CPACs and the stuff like that, right? And again, I'm not focusing only on the right-wing side. I'm coming to the realization that I was focusing too much on Tides and the left-wing side and not realizing that it was part of the same beast. I really think this is the deception. I'm not saying, I'm not like prophesying the end times. I'm not saying the day of the hour. I'm saying that this, to me, looks like the Great Deception. That could feel, that if it could, would fool even the elect. Especially when it ties into the NAR and this experience garbage that they have there. And just think about it too. Like when you look into the etymologies and stuff of like word of faith movement, it's the same thing as the leftist speaking truth to power. It's a positive visualization. You're putting your thoughts and speaking it into power. It's the same thing. They use the same things in all of their stuff. Spiritual warfare, the patriarchy. It's the same thing. I can't believe I didn't see it. I can't believe I didn't see it. And I was fooled into the right-wing stuff. Yeah. I was super convicted. I gotta say. Like, man, oh man. The way they've riled everybody up is disgusting. It's disgusting on both sides. I love how like I'm now like, 'cause I'll call up, like just straight up call out pedophiles online. I just, I'll be like, hey, this guy's a pedophile. And you'll get all these lefties that are like, yeah, but Trump. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Throw Trump in with this investigation. There's way, way, way too many pictures of him next to these people. Okay? Way too many. What was Epstein doing at the Marla Maples wedding? Why is he down in Mar-a-Lago, West Palm Beach, Florida, and we have all those same investment buddies down there? Why is that so close to the Lakeland revival? It's like a 20-minute drive. Well, maybe not a 20-minute drive. Like an hour drive. This all connects. I think the NAR has a lot to do with Epstein and these people as well, and it has a lot to do with human trafficking. All right. I tell you what, guys. Throw a bump on this by just hitting the like, just so that when this finishes off, it can get a little bit extra push, just so we can get to more people. And I want to thank you guys for coming in. I probably will clue this up. I will start a new stream now momentarily. Just give me a few minutes, and we'll start watching some videos and chat if you want to stick around. Because it's been about a week since I did my last one. And this has been an interesting one. Mario will be coming back. There's no doubt about it. This right now is a major damage control. We'll probably never know. And we'll probably never know for the next little bit anyways as to what actually happened. We'll go crazy focusing on it too much. Personally, I'm quite glad that I won't have to be covering him for the next little bit, because I didn't want to keep doing it, but you got to. You have to keep showing this, and hopefully we can get the information out to that girlfriend if she didn't already figure it out. But I think that was what was going on there. Just quickly cluing up. Didn't Mario even say he repented? From what? From what? Abusing women? Did he? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. In fact, anybody who talks about Deja is called a white knight simp. And Deja was dragged through the mud as well by sock puppet accounts in his inner circle. And he certainly hasn't repented from that. No, he hasn't. You don't just say you repent, okay? If you're misleading people, saying you have a ministry, right? And you're taking that money to do drugs and pay for hookers, right? See, that's a little bit different than just say, oh, hey, we're all Christians, we all fall short, and they repented. No, he should never have a ministry again. He was accusing people exactly of which he was doing when it was talking about homosexuality, abusing people, mind controlling people. He did the exact same thing. He's never addressed that. He's only ever addressed, like, what, drugs, sending homosexual pictures. The homosexuality isn't, I don't care about that, because I don't think Mario's gay. I think Mario uses sex as a power tool. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you're gay or a guy or a girl. He will use you via sex. That's what somatic narcissists do. He certainly isn't an intellectual narcissist. Exactly. I want all packs and lobbies illegal. They blackmail and compromise our public servants and make our voice to no effect with fortress protests. Yeah. And not only that, those same NGOs force the protests. Right? They're the ones behind, they're the ones paying for all those neat little signs for Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, right? Through Black Lives Matter, it's actually Tides Foundation, which is the left-wing Templeton, I guess, equivalent. But they said he needs to apologize for what he did to others directly. Yeah, he needs to, because it was a public ministry and the fame from that. Yes, he does owe the public that. He took their money, he took their support, and he used that to abuse people. And he's never addressed that. He never will address that. It's what he's running from all the time. And other people get hurt from it. So I don't care how many times Mario says he repented. He has not repented. He has led so many people astray with his emotional bullshit that he should never be on social media as any form of a content creator again. Like, seriously. Like, if only you knew. Just keep watching and you will, but it's pretty obvious he needs to be removed. All right, guys, I think I'm going to close this one out. If you want to come back later, well, not later, but give me about 10 minutes or so. And I'm going to start up another one just to kind of like scan the news. Talking about Mario too much. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for coming by. It's been a great chat. Sorry to anybody that I missed. Isla Sky, good to see you. Saying, I've lost count of the number of times Mario has done this. Yeah, this one is really sketchy, actually. If you go through the beginning, just go through the beginning segment of this video, and you'll see, like, this is different than the other videos. In the other ones, he usually shows his face, and he's really confident about it. This one, he is getting the heck out of Dodge, and no one knows why. There's no pretext to it. There's no context to it. We don't know. He just mentioned something about interactions and relations not being close to Christ, and he's gone. Very crazy stuff. All right, guys. Thank you very much for following, and I will be back in a couple minutes with some videos. We'll watch together and chat if you're interested. See you.